Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Kat.
So you have a new toy.
I always have new toys.
Yeah, you do. Why do you get all the fun new toys around here?
Special.
I guess so. So what is this?
This is a Rancilio Classe 7.
Okay.
2-group espresso machine. It comes in a couple different varieties. We have what's called the E-Tall. Okay.
Okay.
So it's going to come in, when we're not talking about group heads, 2-group machines. We've got what's called a semi-automatic, which would look like that, just one button. We've got volumetric or automatic, which Rancilio calls an E because it stands for automatic. And then it comes in a tall and short variety. So this one is the tall version, and what that means is that it's the group head height that's tall. So a typical machine you'd see would be more like that. This is for putting, say, a 16-ounce paper cup underneath it. Okay. Because of that, we get this fancy little...
I love that, dude.
Roll out. So
I'm like,
you're tall and short.
Exactly. It's like the you and I hanging out.
It's the best of both worlds.
So, but other than that, there's an E that's the short and it has the same functionality.
Yep. E and the S are the exact same, and then your tall and your short just really depend on how much group head height we're going to have. Okay. So your E, volumetric, automatic, whatever you want to call it. What that is that as opposed to having one button like the semi where you'd have to hit it and hit it again for it to shut off, this, you hit it, it'll run, and it's programmed to shut off at a certain volume. So it'll automatically do that for you. Okay. Boom, just kicks off. And where that's a benefit is now we can program these 4 buttons on both sides to do whatever we want to do. So if we wanted to shut off at 2 ounces, 1.7 ounces, 3 ounces, that way it's not your barista that's constantly having to evaluate where 1.7 ounces.
Now I can program all of these individually, or are these just double what I programmed here?
No, so everything's individual. Okay. Ideally, for your own sanity, it'd be nice to kind of keep it double of what you have there. Okay. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. So when we're going to get into programming here, I'm going to hit this little pause button, which is a continuous button. Just going to hang on to that for a couple seconds, and it's going to start flashing at me here in probably about 5 or 6 seconds.
And you said that's the button, like, is that if you were going to sort of do a manual?
Yeah, so if I just wanted to treat it as a semi-automatic, that's your continuous button or your on and off. It works, it's the same function. Okay. Once it starts flashing at me, now I can go through and hit this button.
And hit that.
And now what I just did there was I just programmed it for that volume. So when I come back out, I'm going to hit this button again. See how it shut off exactly where it was?
And it's important to remember, I think, that when you're doing these programming of the volumes, you need to have coffee in there.
You do, yes.
Yeah, you can't just like be like, I'm doing exactly 3 ounces. Like, you need to have that
coffee
feedback.
Absorbs an expansive amount of water. Really, it surprises people how much it does. If you have one at home that's already programmed to something, run it with your shot. You'll see, okay, it's at 2 ounces. If you were to take that away and just run sheer water, I think it runs something like 3.2 ounces of water for that 2-ounce shot. It absorbs a lot of coffee. A lot of water. So to calibrate this, you need to have coffee in your portafilter. Yep. Okay. Yep. Everything that you do, the way you would do it, and this is where it's nice when you go to make one, or when you go to calibrate it, you don't have to make a good shot because it's just about how much water it's going to actually absorb. Okay. It's not about it being good or bad. Okay. So yeah, you would go through. I'd put coffee inside of it. Then I'd put it up inside of here, have it in, obviously, programming mode, hit it and go. And we're going to shut it off where we want that espresso to end.
I see.
Wherever that is, that's up to you.
Okay. All right. So what are my technical specs on this guy? So is this like a dual boiler? Is this a heat exchange? What's its style?
So this is a heat exchange machine. Rancilio deals in heat exchange machines, especially obviously in Class 7 or your upper levels. Okay. They do a couple things that's kind of cool though in the E version, which is what we have. Most heat exchange machines operate generally mechanically. So certain things like what's called a pressure stat, which is how we control the steam inside the boiler, it's all mechanical stuff. Rancilio on their volumetric units actually go electronic on a lot of stuff. So the water level probe, as opposed to having a physical probe that's down there, they have a computer that runs that. Oh, okay. The pressure stat, actually how much steam is going to be in there, it's now controllable through these buttons as opposed to having to open it up and put a screwdriver in. Oh, okay. So one of the things I was going to show you, can take a look right here. We're at 1 bar worth of pressure, right? Show you how easy it is basically to change this. We're going to make a change without going into anything, strictly just off of the keypads. What we do is we turn the machine off, hold that button, turn the machine back on.
You had some disco lights going on there too.
I know. And we're going to hold it for about 10 seconds. and these two are going to blink at me.
Okay.
Now, if you actually look underneath here, they give you a little gauge to tell you what up and what down is, or what resetting back to 1 bar is.
Okay.
So we're going to take it up to 1.2 bars. So I'm going to hit this button. It's going to flash at me. I'm going to hit it again. It's going to flash at me. And then this button tells me I'm done. Hit that. Everyone's happy. Now, I'm going to turn this off, back on. Go ahead and turn the heating element on.
Okay, and so then that's going to, over here, we'll see this.
Watch right here, we're going to start
climbing.
climbing.
We can, and I can hear it working.
And so now we're going to climb all the way up to about 1.2, and it's going to shut itself off.
Nice. And so down here, what is this?
This is just my water level gauge. This is just the inline water coming into the machine. So you're going to see when I hit this, see how it rises up to about 9 bars? That's all that's registering for me. So it's letting me know what my level is, and it allows me as a technician to change that.
Okay.
It also allows you as a shop owner to say, hey, something's wrong. It's normally at 9 bars. It's only at 4.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to diagnose that way.
And so is it one main boiler with heat exchangers that are coming through it?
Yep. It's one main boiler. It's got a heat exchange for each group head, basically.
Okay.
So cold water comes in the bottom, out through the top. It's going to flash heat it up to 198, 199 degrees or so. Same as any other heat exchanger. So it still cycles the water. It keeps a nice little flow rate to maintain that temperature.
Okay.
But effectively, the water that's coming into the machine, we're not using the water out of the boiler. We're only using water that passes through that heat exchange.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. What are my electrical considerations?
So these actually, Rancilio doesn't play around when it comes to power.
Okay.
It's a 220 machine. All of these in this class, any manufacturer is 220.
Okay.
This, though, is a 30 amp machine. If you look at comparable brands, most of their mid-level machines are 20 amp machines. They operate with, say, 4,500 watt heating elements. This has a 6,000 watt heating element inside of it.
Okay.
It's like the horsepower in a car. It's a gigantic engine. And what's nice about that is really the stability for it. You know, if you look, did you see how quickly that just went from 1 bar to 1,
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
It just goes.
And so that's really like if you're running a cafe that is doing a ton of milk-based drinks.
Yep.
That would improve your recovery time.
That's going to improve your recovery time. You still got to be a little careful. Even though it does have 6,000 watts, it's really nice. It still is a mid-tier machine. It's designed for still that mid 150 drinks a day range. Okay. Its theoretical capacity, sure, is probably higher than that, but really, about 120, 130, up to 150 drinks a day is where this machine is. We start going above that. We want to move into the class 9, which is a step above.
Okay, got it. All right.
So, Rancilio does a couple things that's weird. This one here, you'll notice, has this long steam arm on it. Only reason that's there is because it's the tall. Okay. If this was the regular, shorter one, you wouldn't have this gigantic thing that's on here. Okay. One of the cool things they allow you to turn your heating element on or off. So when you're turning your machine on, if I don't want to put power directly in my heating element, I can get the whole machine to work without heat. And I can actually turn that on or off, basically. Okay. It's a nice little feature that goes through there.
So what do you mean is then you're able to do a cold brew espresso?
No, you wouldn't use it for that. Well, I don't know. Let's try. No, you wouldn't necessarily use it for that, but you would when you're starting the machine up. You want to make sure we're protecting the heating element. Okay. So as we bring water into that boiler, if you start having, say, trouble, you want to shut that off. If we're trying again diagnose things, this is a couple of years down the road probably. It allows you just that ability. For you to do that on another machine, you'd have to literally disconnect a wire somewhere.
I see. So it is for like the technical or maintenance and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you as a user really, your goal there is it's on. And again, you never really turn these things on or off. They're on just 24 hours a day. But again, as a tech, you call me up, something's going on. I can have you turn this off and we can diagnose without power. Okay. Any other specs before you do a demo? That's really it. You got a hot water spout. It's the same as most of your mid-tier ones. It's just a it's just hot water coming out of the boiler. There's no cold water mixing in, so it's really just for cleaning more than it is anything else. Okay. Other than that, it's a great machine. It's they have what's called their C lever on it, which is a push-pull, basically. So it allows me to go down with it, to feather it, or up. Okay. And it's a pretty rock solid machine. It's relatively attractive to sit on the bar. And other than that, we're gonna make a drink.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right.
After my machine refills itself.
give you time as you do get your.
I'm nervous.
coffee
You're always
roast.
watching me when I make these.
I know. What's up, Brandon?
My little fan cools off there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this over here.
So you're super
Ooh.
fierce because you're using a crazy machine and a 12-ounce pitcher.
Yes, I like the looks of it, and I'm making a mess over here. I do generally like the looks of a gigantic steamer. I'm going into a little tiny pitcher.
I mean, it takes a lot of skill, I think, to be able to do that because you really have to control the milk, and you're working with a lot less milk. So
I really do appreciate you pitching in there for me. It really is designed though for that bigger pitcher.
Yeah.
It's designed for, again, it's these double-sided drive-throughs where you're going to have maybe like this 50-ounce pitcher.
yeah,
It's a lot harder to actually control it when it's this little tiny 12-ounce pitcher.
are you gonna do some art?
No, I'm going to pour it in, and you're going to get what I give you.
Whoa, hey, I don't like that attitude. There's kind of a heart.
Kind of art.
Kind of a heart. Cool. All right. So this is great for 150 drinks a day.
Yep, mid 100s a day. Less than that as well. It's not going to hurt you. Obviously, 70, 80 drinks a day.
Okay.
But you can see it's a quick machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy to use machine. It's nice having a little C lever that's inside of it.
Yeah.
It's a
Cool.
great machine altogether.
All right. The Rancilio Classe 7. Thanks,
Kat.
Brandon.